So we have a Zerg versus Protoss, and looking at the grid right now, this has to be Ragnarok. No, it could actually... Yeah, okay, there it is. Okay, you have it on screen now. Yeah, I'm just looking at the grid. So this has to be Ragnarok, and we have his opponent to the bottom of the map. This is actually Samsung Khan's Stork. And the winner of this has to play against Tails. So for some reason, apparently the grid part of Ragnarok was a little bit delayed, which is why it took this long to actually get the match with Stork set up. And let's see, this is game number 1, of course, and we are going to find out who is going to advance here. Before we start, though, a few updates on the grids. In one of the semifinals of Group M, we currently have Hyun against Maru. The second semifinal in this group is Bogus against Pole. The score is 1-1. The third game is currently being played. In Group N, we have in semifinal number 1, Heart against Sky High, a Terran versus Terran. The second semifinal has already been decided. We casted this earlier. Reality, with a great performance against Symbol, was able to defeat the TSL Zerg player with 2-0 and is now waiting in the final for his opponent. So there's definitely going to be a Terran player advancing from this group. Group O is also in the semifinal with CJ Snow against StarTale Zero, a Terran versus Zerg. Semifinal number 2 has been decided. Mia was able to win a ZBZ and is now waiting in the finals for his opponent. We are currently in Group P. In Group P, this is also one of the semifinals. We have Ragnarok versus Stork, currently on map number 1. You see it on screen. And in the final, Tails is waiting for the winner of this match.
Yeah, Tails was able to come all the way. And showing that he is actually a top-notch player. He sometimes gets used as a sniper. He's, not the star of MVP, but he's definitely a good player. He's shown a lot outside of the GSL in foreign events and other team arenas in Korea, online tournaments. He's definitely a good player. I'm really looking forward to seeing if he is able to qualify for WCS. Just goes to show that even if you don't have the best GSL point ranking, you can still do really well in these qualifiers. He may have to make a gateway here. Decides just to block with probes instead.
With 3 lings, you are fine. Yeah. 2 of the lings will die, and 1 link can sneak in, but 1 link is not enough to do any pressure. You can get some scouting, but that's all there is to it. And of course, you miss the scouting on the outside of the base of your opponent, so therefore everything's fine. And as you mentioned, with the probes on the high ground in the gap, he could do additional damage, which would be too much. So he rather decides to keep the Zerglings on the map and just takes down the scouting probe of his opponent. Stork earlier was able to defeat Sirius with 2-1. FXO B-teamer, and currently... Well, not really B-teamer.
Yeah.
But he's Code B, and we have seen him once or twice in GSTL. He's a good sniper, but in the Code A qualifier so far he was not able to succeed. We have the expansion now come out for Stork, of course, and in the main base of Ragnarok there's already the hatch. He will start with the second base, probably with the third base fairly soon. There's already the probe on its way. And this is exactly how usually a Zerg versus Protoss on this map starts. And the ball is in the court of Stork now. He has to decide what he wants to do, if he wants to go for a gateway timing against the third base. And this probe has been spotted. Yep. He sees it, no cannons. It's a cute idea, it's good. Sometimes you can really make it happen and just cannon the third base. This helps you quite a bit, but the probe was spotted earlier and therefore he knew exactly what was coming and scouted the probe and the pylon.
This happens a lot in Broodor, this cannoning. If he loses 25 minerals to make the pylon, that's fine. If he doesn't spot it, then he might force a cancel or kill a hatchery, or force even a ton of Zerglings to kill it. So definitely worth a shot. I feel, when you know there's no Overlord nearby. But great job scouting by Ragnarok. I really like the idea of this match here, because Ragnarok is a player who has a lot of potential. Coach Lee's always telling me this. He says he's one of the best players on the team. He doesn't get shown very often in broadcast matches. And at the same time, Stork is obviously someone who's quite famous, but hasn't been able to play that much in StarCraft 2. This Overlord comes in at a perfect timing to scout the Stargate. He's going to see... Oh, he's hiding. Okay, I was going to say maybe he's going to go Phoenixes, but no, he's going to show the Void Ray. He may switch to Phoenix as he's not chronoing here.
We saw Jungbi earlier with an opening where he built more than only one Void Ray, which is the usual approach. He built 4 or 5 of them, but now we have Stork, and let's see what Stork is going to do. Obviously, Ragnarok in the main base already going for the hatch into lair, and we have Ro4 and an evolution chamber. Everything is going pretty standard. Additional queens being built, though, as he knows already that he has to defend against air units.
Yeah, and he's going for Phoenix follow-up to this. Not going to be doing a Void Ray timing. Obviously, +1's way too late. This probe, wow, almost got lucky. Not going to get to see very much here. Question is, how many Phoenixes does he make? Does he force the Hydralisk Den? And if so, does he go Colossi with an expansion? Does he go Colossi to attack? The lair for Ragnarok is just coming in at a pretty quick timing, but it's a normal timing. It's basically just not a late lair. Double gassing now. He will get roach speed very soon. He's already got the spores coming up. I actually kind of like how long he's waited for these spores. Sometimes people make spores as soon as they see the Void Ray, but he's kind of like, well, I don't need it now, but I'm going to go ahead and start making them one first, and then he'll start the next ones pretty soon. And there's the Hydra Den.
You can also see that he connects the bases with creep, which is really important for the queens. We've had this in this game where Sirius played a few times that he actually didn't do it, but now we have, as mentioned already, we have the queens ready to defend. He built an extra queen to make sure that he's able to gather up some energy so that he can use transfuses. The spore crawlers are ready, and he's droning up here. He knows that there's not a lot of gateway attacks coming his way. With 3 Phoenixes, Stork is trying to do some damage here and maybe force a lift on 1 or 2 of those queens and then start immediately to pick down the queens, making sure that their injects are a little bit delayed, but the production is a little bit worse. Here we go. Double lift already. And is there another queen coming to help out? I don't think so. The spore crawler in position, but queen number 1 is already dead. The second one survives, though.
Like Queen wishing he had the Spore Crawler up a little bit earlier at this base, not waiting so long. Nice position here on the Void Ray, just continuing to harass this Extractor. He wants to get the Queen as well, but he just can't. He won't be able to grab it. Not with the Spore Crawler there. It's too much. He doesn't know if Hydras or other Queens are going to come. Okay, he's trying, but see here they come the Hydras. This may have been a mistake. Nice actually saves these units just using a lift there.
He cancels it and moves out. The right decision. He was trying to get the queen, but when he saw the Hydralisk, he was realizing, okay, well, this is probably not going to work. And now we have the Spire. Not only the Hydralisk, but the Spire is an immediate reaction for Ragnarok as soon as he reaches lair. Whereas Stork is going straight for the transition into the robotics bay. This is a lot smoother, by the way, than the builds that he executed against Sirius earlier. There he waited for a very, very long time. And Sirius attacked with the Roach and Hydralisk composition that was not really well executed. He got caught into an awkward spot and attacked with basically half of his army, therefore punished. But now Stork with a very fast transition, a lot faster than the last time, with smooth into the robotics bay.
And I expected nothing less from Ragnarok, going for that Spire quickly here. He's not going to really commit to an attack at all, I don't think. He's moving out a little bit here. He may take control of the center. There's no third base. Why try to attack a 2-base Protoss like this? He's just going to get Corruptors out and be prepared for a potential 2-base time attack. And if he actually sees what composition he's building, actually he's already seen it. That's what I'm a little bit surprised. Whoa, that's a kind Void Ray. What is going on?
The Void.
I like can't even finish my thought anymore. I'm just like, oh, what? Wait a minute. That Void Ray did not kill the Overseer.
The Overseer is like, nah, I'm feeling good. I'm actually not quite sure if Ragnarok realizes that the Overseer is still alive. That's the other thing.
Yeah. The Overseer, man, he deserves a UI drop there. I'm glad Legend gave him that. He's like the Overseer that's going to come home to his family after seeing horrible things.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, man.
And the other Phoenix is now in the main base doing some damage, harassing the economy, and the Queen has to be very careful. He's actually in whole position here. He loses quite a fair bit of drones. All those energy on the Phoenixes is being used to take down Harvesters here. And now 68 against 58. He killed 7. It's not too shabby.
Not shabby at all.
It's not gonna make too much of a difference though, as Ragnarok is immediately rebuilding his Harvest account. It costs him a few lava. And here's the army supply in favor of our Zerg. A small margin. Third base coming up now for Stork as Ragnarok starts to move across the map. He has those... he immediately has a few Corruptors in the making, and also with the Roach Hydra composition. Trying to snipe those units, and he needs to make... If he wants to make this work, he needs to take out the Colossi as fast as possible and also try to corrupt the Immortals.
I mean, if he is going to use the corruption, he should definitely focus on the Immortals first. Phoenixes are going to help. If he doesn't target, the Phoenixes are going to help really to damage these Corruptors and to distract them a little bit. Here we go. Void Ray starts out as well. Corruption on the Colossi, gets a Phoenix by mistake as well here. And I'm not sure if Stork actually has enough to hold. The Roaches are streaming him, but the force fields are good. And it's starting to seem like maybe he does as the last Colossus falls.
The Corruptor are gone.
And actually, yeah, there's one Colossus left. I thought he was going to be dead, and he holds.
No, he didn't start with it. He didn't immediately focus them down. He took a little bit too long to actually focus fire on one in particular, and he kills two. But the third one is still alive, and once again the Colossus against the Hydra is just way too powerful here. And this is something that Ragnarok could not pull off. He's still in a supply lead, and taking a fourth now, as he knows fully well that being up against a 3-base Protoss requires him to take at least one additional base. But that was a nice hold by Stork.
Yeah, a good hold. The force fields were good, and I have to say, I think that Ragnarok could have perhaps broken through, but you know, Stork's force fields are good enough to hold here, and I'm starting to be a little bit impressed by this guy. You know, he hasn't shown anything magical, but he's playing solid. He's not making critical mistakes. He's not making amateur mistakes here. He definitely could play with some Code A players for sure.
A 50 supply lead already for Ragnarok.
Phoenixes,
they are really
light harass. Very
double
light.
Phoenix harass.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is annoying, and he has to rebuild drones at the same time though he's attacking. He's moving in now, a 50 supply lead, 40 supply lead actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Stork's going to be able to hold this time. He's got 4 Immortals here, only 1 Colossus. Has he overmade Corruptors?
I think he will be able to hold here if he micros correctly, but there's the corruption on those Immortals. If he moves the Immortals well and targets down, I think he will be able to hold again.
I think so, man.
There are just too many Immortals. He needs to get rid of the Immortals. That's the biggest problem here.
Yeah, and as the Roaches fall, he's just going to take out the last of the Hydras. Those Corruptors basically dead weight here, and the supply is now even. He's going to be able to stop mining at this base by taking the center. Once he has the Watchtower, he can just fire on those drones from the high ground. No Blink, though, available. The Twilight Council just now being started. He's got 1-1 here. This is kind of a weird game that we're seeing. But the transition it's not really there for Stork. He's got just now Stalkers and Immortals. He doesn't even have +2 on the way. No Blink. Nice hold here on the third, though, having the cannon up. Good force fields trapping some Roaches. Oh, losing some probes, though, actually.
A lot of energy on those next side, by the way, not being used for the chrono boost. Yeah, he loses some probes, but he is still in a good spot here. He's defending really well. And the attacks by Ragnarok are somehow weird.
Yeah,
it's just like a very weird composition.
He doesn't have any Carapace upgrades. That's something that may hurt him a little bit here. Because even though he has +2 for attack, his opponent's got +1 armor, so the upgrades are even in that sense. I think there may be too many Protoss units here for him to actually hold this hatchery. The Protoss composition is so good. This is not the right place to engage, I feel, but he did not actually fight before the Roaches got up there, so now maybe he breaks through this time. Some of the Stalkers firing at that hatchery.
He
and
needs
the
to get rid of the Immortals. Most of them are already gone. This is a much better engagement for Ragnarok here. Stork is now on the back foot. He was able to take down the 4th though, but the Immortals, they die.
3rd time's a charm, some say, and
just these compositions that we see today and these attacks also by Sirius earlier. I mean, what you want to do is go for Broodlords. Broodlord Infesta. This is so strong. And most Protoss players really struggle with this composition. A lot of the Zergs that we've seen die to Protoss today did so because they just attacked over and over and over again and never tried to go for a late game from a position.
Yeah, you're right. That's been the trend of today. Here we go. The Hydra's doing a lot of damage from the back. The Colossus can't fire at all of them. The Corruptors target it down.
This time he's completely taking him apart. This time there's too much. He can actually fight here. Why is he moving back? He can actually fight. He has the DPS now, at least to make this. If he retreats, he will be chased down. But now the Lynx come in. This is the run-up. The one fight that Stork took in the middle of the map. There he had a bad concave. He couldn't make his force fields work. And now Ragnarok is whittling down the supply of the Protoss player. Stork is hard-pressed here, trying to hold his third. It's not gonna work, as there are way too many Hydralisks. This DPS is too much for him to handle.
GG, and an early lead for Ragnarok here. a very weird game that we just saw. Neither player really transitioning. It was like two players, like two rams beating their heads together, and eventually the engagement was poor in the middle. Ragnarok took a lead from there and ran with it, attacking the third base. There was too much.
We have so many mid games today where there's no really late game composition. And this is a bit weird, especially in those CVPs that we've seen. Well, in this game 1, Ragnarok in the end is successful. The first attack was very well held by Stork, but in the end it's just not enough. He could not hold the third base, and that was basically his biggest problem. And well, now we're probably going to head into the second map very soon. We don't know exactly what's going to be. It should appear on screen momentarily. So what exactly is going on here, and this is... maybe you have a few additional results. We'll check those grids in just a second to see what's happening in the other parts of the brackets. Let me see. Okay, we know about Nia, of course, already. Snow and Zero are not done. That's something that we also knew. No additional info. It's not even about Bogus and Pole. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait for those a little bit longer. Yes, so far we don't have any additional updates. Yeah, I have actually three versions of the grid open here. So if one of them is being updated, we will know.
I think that the second map is Ohana, if I'm not mistaken. If I remember, I went into the production room briefly before the match started to verify who the players were, and I saw that Legend was chatting, asking about the maps, and I believe Ohana was listed. I think it was the second one. So I think that's the map that we're about to see here. But I can't promise anything. Don't take my word for it, guys. Please don't kill me if I'm wrong. That's just what I saw.
송병구 선수는 이번에 한 세트 잡아내면 1대1 동률을 이루게 됩니다. 이 세트까지 조금 준비 시간이 있어요. 조금 기다린 이후에 두 선수가 방을 만들고 동률을 하게 되면 바로 경기를 진행하도록 하겠습니다.
네, 일단 송병구 선수가
we'll go into the game pretty soon. If you guys want to ask us some questions on Twitter during the downtime, we'd love to answer those. Tweet at us at ProxyWolf, at Calder, and just ask us any questions you want to know. That's what we want to do during this downtime. Basically, this is kind of like an indie broadcast, if you haven't figured that out yet, from watching for the past 2 days. We don't have a lot of control over what's going on. We're just kind of the two guys talking about what's on screen. So, you know, during these times when we pretty much already summed up the game, and as the screencaster just said, we have to wait a little bit longer for the players. So, if you want to have any questions you want to ask us, well, please feel free to do so.
재밌는 경기가 또 준비되어 있습니다. 5조에서 결승전이 진행이 되고 있다고 해요.
You know, what is your impression so far of the WCS preliminary calendar? How are you feeling about the matches? I feel like the level of play from not only GSL players and casual players has overall been underwhelming, especially today.
I'm actually this is one of the only countries that actually streams the qualifier for the qualifier.
Yeah.
So given that we don't see any of the Invire players, I actually think that this is pretty cool from just the players that we see and all the names that are around. It's awesome to see the Brood War players compete here. Some of the games were definitely a little bit underwhelming, but just in general, I love it. Especially yesterday, we had great games, and seeing players like Flash, for example, perform so well. Today, I have to say that a few of those games were really surprising me quite a lot, especially Reality, who was able to succeed over Symbol, which was really a surprise. I would even go as far as saying a pleasant one, because the problem that we had yesterday is that most of the Brood War players lost, and I think only one of them was able to advance to the finals and actually compete, but not a single one of them was able to make it into WCS. So with the performance that we saw today from some of the Brood War players, I actually think that we might have some of them advancing and participating in WCS in addition to the ones that get an invite. So that would actually be pretty cool. But yeah, I think the qualifier is actually a pretty cool thing. It's a little bit sad that we aren't at the venue to get first-hand information about what's happening, but that's of course something that we have to deal with.
Yeah. The next map is going to be Cloud Kingdom, actually. So third map must be Ohana. I got an update about Pult. 2-1 over Bogus.
Okay, so apparently we are jumping into Slayer's Mia versus Snow. For some reason the other game was delayed.
Yeah, they had some sort of issue, it seems.
전종범 선수가 1대 0으로
Okay, so
Mia's up 1-0.
전종범
Yes,
선수가
exactly.
1 그리고 장윤철 선수가 0.
One question on Twitter was which Casper player has impressed you the most so far? It was actually Reality. I would have never thought that he would be able to edge out this 2-0 win, and especially on Daybreak, he played very well. And this is odd to me because I have never heard of Reality before. Of course, I know the big Star Group 1 names, but I don't know if he's one of those. But for example, Stork and Bisu, Jadon got the invite, but Flash yesterday. And those guys played well, but they did not play as good as Reality did. So Reality was playing a very nice Terran versus Zerg today. Might be his best matchup, I don't know. But these games were really good.
Yeah, Reality, in StarCraft 2, as far as televised matches go, he had about a 50-50 win rate versus Zerg before today.
Okay.
But he really impressed me today as well. I did not the 50-50 he had was not against players like Symbol. So he looked good even when being down after losing so much early. Symbol made some mistakes, but Reality, he was able to push his way through the mid to late game. I really like to see how good his multitasking was. This guy definitely has a lot of potential. Stork, I am a little bit impressed by as well. Not as impressed as I am with Reality, but I think Stork definitely has some potential to become a great player in StarCraft 2. I think all these guys just need more time. It's hard for me to judge, so I think the best way to answer is, yeah, Reality and Stork kind of made a small splash, but...
The thing about Stork is he might be in the semi-final right now, but he didn't face any seriously threatening players.
Exactly.
Aphrodite and Sirius are not even Code A, so it's hard to judge his performance. I love that he's actually advancing this far in the bracket, but now Ragnarok is going to be the first test, and if he wins, then he has to face Tails. So these are players that are definitely a lot stronger than the two he faced so far. So I don't really want to judge him at this point, but it's nice to see him advance this far in the bracket. That's something that I really like.
One thing I want to mention, to change notes just slightly here, is that if you guys want to check out the VODs from yesterday or earlier today, go to youtube.com/boomtvnet and check out the VODs there if you missed anything.
You talked already about Paul advancing over Bogus with 2-1, so we have definitely another GSL player advancing because Paul is either facing Maru or Hyun. And in the other group, we have now Hard up against Reality. This is the final as Hard was able to defeat Sky High. Yeah, so we are slowly but steadily advancing to the finals. And now the match starts at hand. We have Mia. And this is also the final as already mentioned. So Mia is up against Snow here.